I've been hustling for a minute, 100 since the beginning.
What's good, everybody? What's good? It's your boy, Cardinal Bud Crawford, or E.S. Red, if that's what you won't call me. And we are back for another one. Alright, y'all, new topic. Has PBC's free fight system ruined Errol Spence versus Terence Crawford for undisputed? Alright, y'all. So, my question is, has the system that PBC created, they created a system where they were giving away fights that could have been sold on pay-per-view. They were giving away high-level competition fights on free TV for a while. They've recently dialed that back a lot, because they haven't been putting their fights on free TV as much as they used to. I don't know if it's because they don't have as many good fights to put on free TV, or if they realize their model of doing that was hurting their own business, And, now we're a couple of, I think we're about 2 years removed from the last really big free fight that was on free TV from PBC. So, how has that affected this mega fight between Terence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr.? Has that had a negative effect on this fight? Because, this negotiation process is starting to show the ugly side of boxing.
PBC broke. We're going to need somebody who got some big bank to come pay for it. It's not Bob Arum no more. It's the PBC side. PBC is broke.
The side of boxing where, fans really want to have something happen. They really want to have a fight put together. And since the business part of boxing is so horrible, and promoters, they cheat their fighters all the time. Fighters don't get what they're worth. Pay-per-views in the tank as far as American numbers. And, it's just a lot going on in the boxing hemisphere. And it's all negative, it's all negative toward this super fight trying to come together. So how was that free fight system affected this Spence versus Crawford fight? I think that the money that they would have gained if they would have put a lot of those free fights on TV, they basically missed out on that. Now, a lot of it would have been extra money that they could have put aside and grew the company. A lot of it could have been placed toward future fights, securing future venues, signing new fighters. But since they did put on these free fights and they basically gave them away to the public, and they really didn't, I don't know how they got revenue off of those fights. I'm still trying to figure that out myself, but obviously they were making some money off of that system, or they wouldn't have put that system in place in the first place, and they wouldn't have tried it in the first place. So they had some type of business model to make money off of that system. Now, was it enough money? Was it as much money as they would have made by putting those fights on pay-per-view? I seriously doubt it. And now, like I said, we're in the future. Those a lot of those fights were in the past. We're now in the future of PBC. They're evolving. And we have this Crawford-Spence fight, and it seems like PBC just doesn't have the amount of money needed to pay both of these fighters. It's crazy because they wanted so bad to have Bob Arum out of the picture, but if Bob Arum was involved in this, could he have dug down in his pockets to help the situation?
Just look at the pay-per-views they doing. Every fight is a pay-per-view. Put
a little money up to get the fight to go ahead. We don't know. He's out of the loop now. He doesn't really seem to care about Terence Crawford or his career. And he's presently being sued by Terence Crawford. So we will never know if Bob Arum could have helped the situation, or perhaps if Terence Crawford was still signed to him, we would be even worse off than we are right now, because we're getting a lot of reports that this fight's coming down in November, but it's still not signed yet. And from what I'm hearing from different channels and different news sources, that it might not happen at all. You know, it still might not happen. Still might not be signed. We still might have to wait till 23 to actually get this fight.
The front money has dried up. It's right there in your face. Canelo went over there and got 50-40 million out of Al Haymon. Al Haymon is running around. They say Al Haymon is not answering phone calls.
So it's crazy that, you know, something that happened 2-3 years ago, as far as those free fights, is now affecting PBC so negatively, and we're in 2022. Now, what those free fights did do for PBC is they were free promotions. Like, PBC gained a wide audience off of giving a lot of those fights away. But now that you have two superstar fighters, two fighters that you have to pay double-digit numbers just to get them into the ring, it seems like those free fights they were a bad idea now, because it seems like they could use the revenue now. Now, I don't know if it's simply that PBC doesn't have the money to put up for it, or if they're backers, or who, you know, whatever. Fox, you know, are they putting the money up for the actual fight? Is it PBC that's actually putting the money up? Is there a group of investors that's actually putting them? We don't know any of this stuff. You know, this is the stuff that's going on behind closed doors in that negotiating room, and those people are talking amongst themselves, and we'll probably never know until either the fight completely falls apart or the fight comes together and we actually get it and we find out what's actually in those contracts.
I ain't saying Al Haymon as himself, a person, is broke. No, that man ain't nowhere near broke. But the front money is gone. You know, the money that came out there was giving us them, oh, y'all, we got free fights. We got fights for free on TV.
I think at the present moment, you know, looking at the big picture, yeah, I would say that those free fights, they've negatively affected PBC, because they could have had deeper pockets to actually put this fight on. And, you know, now it seems like that they're having cash flow problems. Now, that could be because they just have so many fighters. They have so many fights they need to put on for the rest of the year going into 23. And they just don't have the revenue to focus solely on this one fight. Now, is that a knock against promoters, you know, and promotional companies and having more product than you can actually sell? Or is that a testament to the fact that Terence Crawford in this scenario just isn't worth as much as people want to believe he is? Even he wants to believe he's worth more than what he's worth. You know, I think it depends on how you look at the situation. I would personally say that it's probably a little bit of both. That Terence Crawford isn't worth as much as he thinks he is, and as much as his fans think he is, and perhaps PBC just doesn't have the dollar amounts to sign off on this fight. It can't simply be that Terence Crawford is asking for too much money and they can't sign the fight. I mean, fighters ask for ridiculous amounts of money and get it all the time. Just look at Canelo and the amounts of money that they pay him just to get in the ring. Now, I know Canelo's different. Canelo's the biggest fish in the sport of boxing. He sells the most pay-per-views. You know, he's his fan base is the biggest. They support him. So it's different. You have to pay Canelo because you know you're going to get a return on investment. I think they're worried they're not going to get their return on investment in this fight.
Oh, Al Haymon taking over. That was front money. Ain't no more front money. So we might not be able to see this fight at all, y'all. That's what's holding this fight up.
I think they know what they can achieve based on what Errol Spence has done, but Terence Crawford not putting up the numbers is a question mark. So if you pay him and the fight doesn't do well, then that's just another negative blemish, along with the fact that you gave away all these other free fights in the past. So your where you should have been gaining revenue and making all this extra revenue. You're now tanking revenue because you gave away so many free fights, and you put on a mega fight, and one of the fighters you overpaid, and he wasn't worth the dollar amount. So it's a weird situation. I don't know how this thing is going to play out. It's fun to talk about it and conversate about it and get everybody's opinion. But it's really showing the ugly business side about boxing and why UFC is on top at this point, and why boxing is lagging and lagging and lagging behind these other sports and just can't seem to get it together, man. Y'all hit that like button for me. Sure. Subscribe. Tell a friend. Holler at me on all social media platforms. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. But you're more than likely to get a response on YouTube. So holler at me over there if you want a response. I think I'm done rambling for now. Yeah, I'm done rambling for now. It's your boy, Cardinal Bud Crawford, or E.S. Red. And we are Manny.
So many real niggas in heaven, I know it's a party.